The world watched as leaders of the most powerful democracies gathered in Kananaskis, Alberta, in July 2025. The summit was meant to project unity amid global crises, war in Ukraine, escalating conflict in the Middle East, and fragile economies. The leaders were all present: Starmer, Macron, Merz. But the most powerful seat was empty. United States President Donald Trump was gone. No announcement, no tweet, just a vague statement about needing to return for something important. The silence he left behind was deafening. A void at the heart of the Western alliance. News alerts flashed worldwide. Was this a protest, a health emergency, or a calculated snub? Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney tried to explain, blaming the Middle East crisis, but few believed him. The departure felt deliberate, a piece of political theater with the world as its audience. The empty chair was more than absence. It was a message, and everyone was left to decipher its meaning. This wasn't the usual Trump disruption. It was a quiet, unnerving vacuum. In past summits, Trump had been a whirlwind of demands and controversy, but always present. This silent exit was something new, suggesting a leader disengaging from the global consensus. The remaining leaders stared at the empty seat, seeing not just a missing person but the potential vacancy of American leadership. The shock rippled outward, instantly circling the globe. The G7, meant to be a beacon of stability, now symbolized a fractured world order. Analysts scrambled to interpret the move, but the message was clear: the West's unity was in question. The summit's tone shifted from confidence to uncertainty. The world's most powerful alliance suddenly felt fragile. The absence of the US president cast a shadow over every discussion. The G7's purpose, unity in crisis, was undermined in a single silent moment. The world was left to wonder, what happens when American leadership simply walks away? The answer for now was silence. The G7 leaders arrived under immense pressure, facing a world in turmoil. Ukraine's war demanded unity and resolve. Zelensky came seeking support. Simultaneously, open conflict between Israel and Iran threatened to engulf the Middle East. The G7 was expected to call for de-escalation and prevent a nuclear arms race. China's ambitions in climate change loomed over every discussion. The summit was supposed to reaffirm the G7's relevance and leadership. Instead, Trump's exit threw everything into chaos. Urgent decisions stalled, trust evaporated, and the summit's purpose unraveled. The leaders were left scrambling to salvage unity. The world watched as the G7, tested by crisis, faltered spectacularly. The powder keg had been lit. Trump's departure paralyzed the summit. His canceled meeting with Zelensky was a blow to Ukraine and a gift to Moscow. The united front on Ukraine shattered before talks began. For the first time, the G7 failed to produce a joint communiqué. Without the US, any agreement felt hollow. Trump had floated readmitting Russia, horrifying allies. The US vetoed tougher sanctions and refused new measures, citing costs. The leadership vacuum was obvious, no one could fill it. Emergency sessions and bilateral talks couldn't restore confidence. Macron and Merz were seen in tense, frustrated discussions. The summit, meant to show stability, became a showcase of disarray. One leader's silent exit destabilized the entire Western alliance. The architecture of cooperation was left in ruins. As diplomats reeled, Trump's team pressed his America First agenda. The US announced sweeping tariffs, 50% on steel and aluminum, 25% on cars, 10% on most imports. It was an economic declaration of war against allies, announced on G7 soil. Global markets trembled, fearing a trade war. The tariffs threatened to trigger retaliation and recession. The USMCA's future was cast into doubt, with Trump signaling he might let it expire or demand radical changes. A planned meeting with Mexico's president was canceled, leaving key issues unresolved. For Canada and Mexico, US unpredictability threatened their economies. G7 allies, hoping to discuss sanctions on Russia, now faced economic conflict with Washington. Unity against adversaries was impossible while fighting trade battles with an ally. Trump's actions sowed division, shaking the foundation of alliances built on shared prosperity. The tremors from Kananaskis showed that an ally's economic policy could be as disruptive as an adversary's military. The world economy was left on edge. In the aftermath, the world tried to decipher Trump's motives. Was this impulsive or a calculated move in a larger game? Some saw it as political theater, Trump reinforcing his outsider image for his base. The empty chair became a symbol of defiance, not weakness. Others saw a strategic warning to NATO fall in line or face disruption. European leaders rattled, prepared for a tense NATO summit. But perhaps it was a genuine retreat, a leader overwhelmed and uninterested in diplomacy. Trump's focus on trade and dismissal of sanctions suggested a transactional worldview. The empty chair could signal a permanent American withdrawal from global leadership. Allies were left anxious, unsure if this was a temporary protest or a lasting shift. The world order felt suddenly unstable. The meaning of Trump's exit remained hotly debated. The consequences would echo far beyond Kananaskis. As the dust settled, the world faced a profound question: what comes next? Trump's silent exit shook the foundations of the international order. Alliances once unbreakable now seemed fragile. The failure to act on Ukraine and the Middle East left a dangerous vacuum. Adversaries watched, emboldened by Western disunity. Was this the calm before a new storm, or the start of American isolationism? Allies braced for more disruption at the upcoming NATO summit. The empty chair at Kananaskis became a symbol of uncertainty. The world held its breath, waiting to see if the silence would be broken by thunder, or mark the quiet end of an era. The answer would define the future of global leadership.